My mouth cannot form words. In utter disbelief, I squint my eyes to scrutinize the paper again. No, that can't be, I shout in denial. Yet no matter how many times I examined the graded math paper home last week, the red numbers seem to arrogantly map me at every step. Scratch my head in frustration. My eyebrows become magnets that twinkle in the middle of my forehead. This is a disaster, a calamity. How did this happen? As if just to recall my classmates, the loud jets of my peers seem to seep back into the sea. Frantically, my eyes dart down at my friend's papers. Unlike mine, their papers seem to proudly shine in accomplishment. Theirs, I hastily try to hide the shameful evidence in the deep piles of files at the back of my folder. When I turn back around, my friend questions, "What did you get?" I respond, "An A, of course," with a smile plastered on my face. On the graded exam, stuck in the deep depths of my folder, Leslie replies, "C." American adolescents suffer from low self-esteem influenced by an overemphasis on academic pressure, caused via an overloaded homework, excessive extracurricular activities, and pressure to perform well in school and competition, and presents a need for a healthy balance in achieving these high standards and legitimately grow as a learner. Nonetheless, low self-esteem is vastly prevalent in teenagers. No wonder they're always so sensitive. It's those periods and mood swings. Am I right, parents? According to DoSomething.org, 70% of girls think that their physical appearance, academic performance, and personal relationships are inadequate or don't meet the standards. What seems to be an average B may seem to adolescents with low self-esteem as if they are a failure. Hold up, it's only a grade. Drama queens, right? Okay, so maybe not all of us have ridden this low and bumpy ride, but many of us have, including me. Low self-esteem is when one doubts one's capabilities and has low confidence in oneself. But what exactly causes low self-esteem? Today, we will step back and examine how the self-esteem of adolescents is impacted by the excessive amounts of homework, extracurricular activities, and pressure to succeed in schools and competitions like this. Let's take, for example, academic performance. Okay. Homework provides a review of the school lesson, more practice, blah, blah, blah. Sure, I agree. But how much homework are we expecting our kids to do? There is so much homework assigned to American students than ever. So parents, don't tell us you had it worse than us back in the day. We don't want to hear it. But is that the best way to go? Although we certainly want them to work hard, we are over-programming our children these days to the point that their self-esteem severely declines. According to the CNN article, kids have 3 times too much homework study finds versus the cost. Donaldson Pressman's study reveals that students in almost every grade level are working over their expected time period set for homework by the National Education Association and the PTA. The report also concludes that homework levels over the amount set are not only not beneficial to children's grades or GPA, but there's really a plethora of evidence that is detrimental to their attitude about school, their grades, their self-confidence, and their social skills and the quality of life. In other words, significant amounts of homework damage a teenager's confidence in being able to handle the work. If teenagers continue to question their ability to deal with excessive homework, their self-esteem may decline. But the low self-esteem train downhill doesn't just stop at homework. Colleges don't just look at your grades and standardized exam results. They also look at your extracurricular activities, as if they didn't expect enough before. Oh, the stress. Teenagers' self-esteem issues also become prevalent because not only do they have to do loads of homework, they also have to deal with extracurricular activities. It's a lot of pressure to deal with. Trust me, I know. But don't get me wrong, moderate extracurricular activities have proven to present positive results. The effect of extracurricular activities and physical activity on Knifeson and Gramson confirmed that a high number of extracurricular activities, 3 or more, was detrimental to academic performance. The report concludes that as students devote more time to these activities, they are unable to keep up academically. Thus, we may become overwhelmed by the assignments on our to-do list and procrastinate, and then feel disappointed if we do not complete all of these tasks. This frustration leads us to question our capabilities to deal with the assignments and brings down our self-esteem. On top of extracurricular activities, if we don't perform well or receive a big prize at a competition like this, we feel worthless. To some extent, a certain amount of youth stress is needed to push oneself to the limits to grow and to learn. Yet an excessive amount of pressure leads to low self-esteem. According to the Washington Post article, students in high school schools are now named an at-risk group. Study says, a report by Robert Bruce Johnson Foundation reveals that the top environmental conditions harming adolescent wellness around them were poverty, trauma, discrimination, and excessive pressure to excel. Often, but not exclusively, occur in affluent communities. Wait a minute, poverty, trauma, discrimination? That sounds pretty serious. Pressure to perform causes us to feel devastated and doubt our capacity to fulfill those expectations. Subsequently, our self-esteem declines and we feel negatory. But think about it. We may also receive pressure from all types of places. The Washington Post article notes that the professor of psychology at Arizona State University, Sunil Leader, points out that the unrelenting pressure on high school students and in high-achieving schools comes from every direction. From overly invested parents who want A's, coaches who want wins for their own personal reputations, and school administrators who feel pressure to get high standardized scores in their schools. Now that's a lot of pressure. And when teenagers are left with those expectations, they may doubt their abilities even more, and result in fragile self-esteem on the verge of breaking. Unfortunately, there is no simple cure for elevating low self-esteem. I know, boo-hoo. But we can only continually improve our self-esteem in various ways, such as setting reasonable goals to maintain a balanced life, to become an A student and a growth student. To elevate self-esteem, we can set attainable goals to achieve and feel a sense of stability. A Harvard business study found that 14% of people who set these goals were 10 times more successful than those who did not. By setting these reasonable goals, teenagers can feel a sense of success from reaching small objectives, which aggravates them to keep going and avoid giving up altogether, as many people with low self-esteem tend to do. But sometimes it's hard to see the big picture when we don't get immediate results. But trust me and Harvard Business on this one. A reasonable agenda breaks down the work realistically and prevents procrastination, thus motivating us to keep striving with a certain extent of healthy pressure. But the reachable goals and realistic agendas will reduce my excessive stress with smaller objectives and maintain a healthy amount of pressure to push forward to grow myself. Although I may be guilty of low self-esteem and lying, I'm advancing myself by recognizing my pulse in a positive way. And now those red markings on the piles of papers in my folder seem to be the savior rather than the enemy.